So, just the other day, news emerged that the one, the only Jonathan Wall had requested a trade. And, the reason was he was surprised that the Wizards were choosing to build around Bradley Beal. Um, First off, I don't really get how that's an issue that much. I mean, if you should want to win, and you've played with Bradley Beal for what? A long time, right? I mean, they're a decent duo when both of them are healthy. I mean, I would have at least given it a try. But he was surprised by the fact, which is surprising to me because the dude hasn't played in 2 years at this point. Um, I would totally go to build around the healthy guy. So as soon as that news dropped, people were like, hey, Russell Westbrook for John Wall. Let's make it happen. Um, yeah, I don't think that's a great idea for either team, honestly. I mean, those two guys might have the worst contracts in basketball right now. And the reason I say that is because both of them rely heavily on athleticism, which does not age well. I think we know that from experience. Both of them, well, John Wall is, always injured. I mean, coming off a major injury. And then Russell Westbrook is often injured. So you've got two athletic, often injured, old point guards on 3 to 4 year contracts, getting paid lots of money that they might have once upon a time deserved, but now they no longer do. So I feel like if you're going to do it, you just have to straight up do John Wall for Russell Westbrook, right? Like just straight up, okay? Because for both teams, it's kind of the view of, for the Rockets, we already know at this point James Harden, Russell Westbrook doesn't work. We want to try and keep James. Let's just straight up trade Russell for John Wall. There's no risk involved because we're not giving up any picks. I mean, we might as well go for it. And same situation for the Wizards. We know John Wall doesn't want to be here anymore. Let's give him up for Russell Westbrook and pair him with Bradley Beal because why not? I mean, some of these things you just kind of have to try to figure out if they work. And this is for sure one of those things. So that was the first team I thought of when I heard that he wanted a trade. Um, the next team I thought of was the Utah Jazz. Okay? So Donovan Mitchell has never really played with a elite point guard in his career. Right? He's played with some all right ones, but no one all-star level or all NBA level or MVP level. No one like that, right? I mean, we can't say how much that would help him for sure until we actually see. And John Wall, could significantly help Donovan Mitchell in terms of just taking some stress off the dude. I mean, right now he has to do borderline everything offensively for the Jazz. Okay? Rudy Gobert, great defensive player in the paint, but he is by no means, an offensive standout, right? So I feel like just bringing in another, superstar or even potential superstar at this point with John Wall would elevate a lot of stress and a lot of deep, like, just straight up scoring and playmaking duties off Donovan Mitchell. Um, I wanted the Jazz to trade for Chris Paul before he went to the Suns because I felt that that would help them out a lot more. But sometimes you just have to make the best with what you have, and that this might be one of those times. So that's another team that I thought of. Now, those were the two most obvious ones. The third one, the Los Angeles Clippers might, just might, be in a position to trade for him. Or not be in a position to trade for him, but might feel like it's a good idea to trade for him. Now, the picks, as we know, are already, they all belong to the one, the only Oklahoma City Thunder. And they really don't have any standout young guys on their roster. So that could make a trade difficult. I'm sure they could find a way somehow. But, you know, I said this before in my James Harden video, link in the description, go check it out, by the way. Um, the NBA right now is in favor of superstar duos, right? And then once the Bucks, decide to trade for Drew Holiday, now they have a trio of very skilled players. Other teams are going to see that as a threat, and they need to start building up their own trios. Adding in a third, dynamic, borderline all-star player to contend with, the Bucks MVP all-star, borderline all-star lineup. And I feel like John Wall would be the move for the Los Angeles Clippers. It is 100% a risk, right? But you just lost Montrezl Harrell, so your bench is not necessarily the strength of your team anymore. Patrick Beverley is not exactly the best offensive point guard. He's an effort player on defense. He's a good defender, but most of it is effort. John Wall would be an immediate improvement on offense if fully healthy. Defensively, you can bring Patrick Beverley off the bench. However, the odd man out in this situation, I'm assuming, would be Lou Will. I'm guessing they trade him. That's my best theory, I guess. Unless they did want to trade Patrick Beverley hypothetically. But it seems to me that Patrick Beverley is the heart and soul of that team, and it does not seem like a good idea to trade him away. So that's one of the, lesser teams. The next team I'm going to talk about is also one of those lesser teams. Another pretty big risk. But that is the Orlando Magic, right? Now, Orlando is not as good a free agent destination as, say, sister city Miami is, right? You still get the bonus of, no income tax, but Orlando does not have the nightlife. It does not have, the amazing beaches that Miami does. It does not have as good of organization. So it's one of those cities that you kind of need to, keep your superstars and trade for them when the time comes, because you're probably not going to sign anyone in free agency. With that being said, the Magic already have a starting center in Nikola Vucevic, and they have an abundance of power forwards, okay, and centers. Mo Bamba, Chumo, Kiki, Aaron Gordon. I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting about, right? But anyways, the Magic have tons of big men. So my theory here is you can take a big man or two, let's just say hypothetically, Chumo, Kiki, Aaron Gordon, and a pick or two, and flip that for John Wall. As I said before, obviously a risk. And this would mean that you're not going to attempt to rebuild anytime soon. You're going to, go out and contend. With the Magic, making the 8th seed last year, it might not look like the best decision, especially because they're largely running back the same roster. However, let's say that instead of trading Chumo Kiki, they trade, say, Mo Bamba and Aaron Gordon. And Markelle Fultz. Why not Markelle Fultz? Let's say they do that, and Chumo Kiki, he just, does amazing, exceeds expectations, is in the Rookie of the Year conversation. You have John Wall at point guard, he's back to his old self. You have Vucevic, kind of just doing a little bit of everything, right? That could be, a dark horse team, It's not the best team in the East, that is for sure. It's not even the 4th best. But it is a team that would for sure make the playoffs and could definitely take a series if you're not ready for him. And if the Magic were willing to take that risk, I would say go for it. Trade for John Wall. I mean, what do you have to lose besides picks? So, as it always is, whenever, a superstar player requests a trade, the Knicks have to be brought up along with the Miami Heat. For the New York Knicks, they've looked like a much more competent organization this offseason, especially if they can flip one or two of their power forwards that they've signed, because they have a love affair with those guys. They flip one or two of those guys, and they bring in, let's say they flip them for John Wall. that could potentially be a playoff team in the East, which Knicks fans, I know that's something you haven't heard in a long time. But first off, you'd have to improve RJ Barrett's efficiency. Second off, you'd have to, it's it's just a potential playoff team. The shooting on that team is not amazing at all. John Wall is not a crazy good shooter from three. He's all right, that is for sure. But he is not a knockdown shooter by any means. He is not a Stephen Curry. Mitchell Robinson, non-factor. RJ Barrett, horribly inefficient. So that lineup lacks shooting to me, which is definitely a concern. If the Knicks wanted to, they could. I would personally not if I was in charge of the New York Knicks. Trade for John Wall. And the Miami Heat. They've been linked to the Wizards a lot for Bradley Beal, who the Wizards keep insisting is not available for trade. So why not trade for John Wall? Well, the Heat already have an overabundance of point guards with Goran Dragic, Avery Bradley, and Kendrick Nunn, along with the fact that last season, towards the end of the bubble, but before the playoffs, so, end of the regular season bubble is what I'm trying to say there. Miami Heat did give Tyler a couple of looks as their point guard. So if they're trying to develop that, overabundance of guards, right? So trading for John Wall does not make sense along with the massive contract. It's not going to happen. Got to keep 2021 open for Giannis. Yeah. I can't really think of any other, major teams that would attempt to trade for John Wall. Or teams that, would have the assets. I mean, the Bucks would probably love to trade for him, honestly, at this point. Because then they can run out John Wall, Drew Holiday, freaking Chris Middleton, and Giannis with this and probably, I don't even know, Brook Lopez if he's still there. They would love to trade for him, that is for sure. But I don't think that they can. They definitely do not have enough, resources, trade assets. Definitely don't have enough of that. Don't think the cap space is that great either. So, although I'd probably love to trade for him, I don't think that happens. Can't think of any other teams at the moment that would want to trade for John Wall. So, yeah, that's going to be it then. Please remember to, like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. It would mean a lot to me. Comment down below if you think where you think John Wall will go to. Have a good day, y'all. Yeah.